Hey, what is up, people? This is G, and in our last video we did a little bit of measuring. In this video, because now that we have our measuring done, let's go ahead and move on to slicing our composition. So what does that mean exactly? Basically, it means that once you have a full-fledged design like this, we are going to use a slicing tool to cut out specific parts of that composition so we can use it more easily in our website, or in this case, an email. And we can do just that by just selecting this, and we can just start slicing. But before you do that, just take a quick second to determine, well, what do I need to slice exactly? It might not be clear to you in the beginning, but you want to slice everything except for negative space and live text. So we're going to consider this as live text. This all here is going to be negative space, so we don't need this part. We don't need anything in the header. This is an image, so we're going to need this because it's not negative space and it's not text. Although you do see text over here, it's part of this whole composition, so we're going to consider this as an image. This part here again is going to be live text, so we don't need this part. Now for the CTA button, it is possible to create a button entirely in CSS, but for this tutorial, let's just keep it simple and we'll consider this as an image. And finally, we're going to need this Facebook icon on the bottom. So now that we have our slice tool selected, let's go ahead and start slicing. Now you want to make sure that you zoom in because sometimes it's kind of easy to snip out information, and as you can see over here, I need a little bit more of the bottom, and it's easier to tell when you're zoomed in. So I drag that, so now that we have everything fitted nicely within the borders. And we're gonna slice this one as well, and that's pretty close, but I snipped a little bit too much to the right, so I'm gonna bring it back in, and we're gonna use the Facebook icon. So let's slice that as well. But we can see over here that the Facebook icon is really small. It's only 31 by 31, and because it's such a small image, we want to make sure that we're including all the critical information and little pixels that this image has. Like, it's a little bit hard to see in this video. Let me hide the slices for a second, but then this is actually curved. Okay, the corners are curved, and we want to make sure that we include those corners. So let's go ahead and make our slices a little bit bigger, and you can open this window by just double clicking on the slice. So 32, let's go with 33 on the height. There you go. So now we have a little bit of a fatter slice, but then now we're positive we have everything within the slice. Okay, so now that we did that, we need to do one more thing, and that's to name the slices. So by default, it's going to use the name of your PSD and assign a number to it as the name, but then we don't want that. We want something a little bit more cohesive. So let's use hero image for the hero image. For the CTA button, let's just go with button, and for the Facebook icon, let's just keep it nice and simple. Name it Facebook. Okay, so now that we have that done, let's go ahead and save it for the web. And we can do that by going under File and clicking on Save for Web, or you can just use the shortcut key Control-Shift-Alt-S. Okay, so now I have this window open. You want to make sure you're under Original. Under Original, Shift-click our 3 slices. 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay, and you can tell you selected it by the color of the borders. It turns this slightly orange color. By default it's blue, but then if you selected it, it turns orange. So we have our 3 slices selected. We want to make sure that this tab over here is under JPEG. So once it's under JPEG, hit save. Now I'm gonna be saving my files in a folder called Foxy Emails. You can save it wherever you want to, but just make sure that you keep note of where you're saving it, because that's the same place where you're going to need to save your HTML file. Okay, so I'm gonna save it just in here, and before I hit save, I want to make sure that the slices tab is under selected slices. By default it might be under all slices, but we want selected slices. So once we do that, you know what, this file name, it doesn't matter because we already named our slices, so you can go ahead and ignore this and then just hit save. Okay, so we saved our images. Let's go to the folder and just double check that we did it correctly. Alright, so I'm going to go under Foxy emails, and by default Photoshop is going to create a folder for you called images, as you can see over here. If for some reason it didn't do that for you, just go ahead and create a new folder named images, just like this, all lowercase, and then put your 3 images in there. So I'm going to check that if my images are in there, hit enter, and alright, so I have my 3 images saved in here, and you should too. So once you do this, now we're ready. We have our images. We're ready to rock and roll. We can now focus on our HTML file and get to the fun part. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.